In today's video, we are actually hopping on board with Scump as he and OpTic Chicago go to battle against Crimsix, Shotzi, Illy, Huke, and the boys from the Dallas Empire. So finally, we're back on a little bit of a schedule here. So this was actually the first day of scrims after Christmas. I know it's the 28th, it's the 29th as you guys are watching this, but they took a few days off. They took the weekend off. They had family, whatever their family time was or whatever. And now it seems they're back. So overall, before we get into the actual map breakdown, I like to go through things overall. Overall, they went 2-2 on the Hardpoint maps. So the ones that they lost, they started off and they kind of got blitzed on Garrison. So that's a map that they've just kind of been struggling with. It was like in the 250 to 170 range, somewhere in there. And then the other map that they lost is by far their worst map. They haven't been good at checkmate basically ever. From the very beginning, that's a map that they've struggled with. So you can pretty much guarantee that moving forward here, you're not really going to see these guys. You're not going to see OpTic vote in any sort of tournament or however format we're doing this thing. Once it actually gets going, you're not going to see them vote to play the map checkmate. They're just not great at it right now. Normally, by this point in time, they've watched enough VODs and they kind of figure it out. But checkmate is not going their way so far. So the two maps that they did end up winning the Hardpoints on against Dallas was Raid, a map that they've been playing pretty well since it got into the rotation, and Moscow. I would say from the very beginning, Moscow was their best map. Most of all, just because it's kind of the map that's the most like a classic Call of Duty map. You can say Raid is very much like that also, in that you have a route down the middle, you have a route down both sides. You can get between each of those lanes by cutting across the middle and doing so on the ends of that H. So it's no surprise that Raid and Moscow are the two maps that they're best at. They have really good ARs that are good at rotating early and locking down lines of sight. So when you have Formal and Dashy rotating through and locking down lines of sight with their ARs, that's normally where they excel. The smaller maps like Garrison, where you have a lot of fighting in close quarters combat and stuff, that's where you need to see a little bit more out of Envoy and Scump. And it's not there yet, but Scump has been playing super consistent. So I don't want to take anything away from him or whatever. Scump has been playing really well. I would probably say, honestly, Scump is probably their most consistent player this year so far. Envoy hasn't quite been the Envoy that we saw last year. Not to say that he's playing bad. He's just not there yet, and he'll get there. I mean, these guys are all grinders, and eventually they'll get there. But as we get into the actual breakdown of this one, OpTic did a really nice job inside of P3. They lost P2 inside of Kitchen, but that's to be expected. This is more like a classic Call of Duty map in that these hardpoint rotations just ping pong back from one side to the other. I will say, to start off, they did have those initial P2 spawns, but they got pushed out through laundry, and that's like the one cardinal sin. As you rotate from P1 to P2, you just have to watch the push through laundry back to jungle. If you give that up, you're going to give up spawns. You're going to spawn over by pool, and that's exactly what happened. Just to go ahead and pause it and bring it up for the very first time, let's take a peek at our mini-map just so that we're 1,000% on everything that's happening. So Dallas did get this initial spawn. They pushed over inside of P1, and for a while this was a contested hardpoint, and then eventually, again, as you're rotating over towards P2, these are the spawns that you want, that OpTic wanted going in towards P2. And essentially what happened is this is the area that determines who's going to end up getting those spawns, because once you get back into this jungle area of the map right here, then you're basically getting spawns. So what we saw happen there is Dallas was able to push up through Laundry, get a couple kills in this area here. Once they got those, they pushed out over into this jungle area, and as soon as that happens, that takes OpTic. It spawns them down here, and now remember, they're coming from these pool stairs. So as they're trying to get upstairs, they're getting shot from whoever's left inside of P1. And as they're trying to push over towards this side, either to go this half wall jump up or go money inside of P2, once you overtake this, you're going to have people sitting in these locations. So those are easy kills to make. So that was really the big mistake that we saw on the first set of rotations, at least so far inside of P4. They did a really nice job of being able to push out P4 and get a little bit of time there, which is why they have about a 20-second lead. And now it's just going to be working back inside towards P5. And again, remember, as we're about to rotate, I know that there's 45 seconds left, and that's a lot of time, but the end goal here is exactly what you're seeing Scump do. So Scump is pushing over here towards Laundry. Reason why he wants to do that is literally what we just talked about. If he's able to get a kill or two and then push out towards jungle, then they're going to overtake that spawn. And if they split time inside of P1, nobody really cares. But if they're able to push out these jungle spawns, then they can max out that time inside of P2. Looks like he wasn't successful at pushing out those spawns, but because they were so focused on him pushing through, they were actually able to capitalize and get a bunch of time inside of P5. So that's not terrible, because now if you're Dallas and you're super scared of Scump pushing out that Laundry spawn, if you can basically counter inside of P5 and inside of P1 the time that Dallas would have received inside of P2, then it's not just a moral victory, that is an absolute win. Now, they did end up getting team wiped there, so it looks like that's not quite going to be the case, even though they do still have about a 40-point lead. But looks like this last 25 seconds now is probably going to end up going towards OpTic. And as soon as that happened, you can see that Scump's now looking back behind towards White Van, which means they were successful at pushing out that Laundry side of the map. And now they've got a 60-point lead, and they're going to have those initial spawns as it rotates over towards P2 on the second set of rotations. But best thing about scrims is that we can actually listen in and hear exactly what they're talking about. So without further ado, let me go ahead. Let me turn up the team comps. I'm still going to check in and point out the things that are super important. But for now, let's listen in as we're inside of P2, about to rotate towards P3 on the second set of rotations.
I can kill the back.
Money on me. One shot money.
Bag just went cut off, dude. Fuck.
Damn, it's not that bad, honestly.
Scrim's Laundry somewhere, guys.
Yeah, one Laundry. Scrim.
Laundry, no.
Top Laundry, dead.
Yo, pinch water steps.
I'm rotating.
Water stairs too, though.
Water stairs really weak.
Most important kill water stairs.
You went Zig, you went Zig.
Yo, one's already,
That's one back,
one's
that's one back.
sitting in mid as well.
Let's play this time, Matt.
Yeah, that's one back of vault.
Zig, Ender Zig, one shot. He stuck me, I'm dead.
I need him, my bad.
One
Fuck,
shot
he's not
Chelsea.
weak. He's just finessing it.
We're spawning rings still. They're trying to hit out. They're trying to hit water side.
Money Kyler.
Yeah, Q. Watch your Zig. One's right of me, one's right of me.
Zig. Absolute Zig, one bullet.
You go in
Zig
it?
and far right.
Zig, absolute.
I spawned them back.
We're
They're hitting him mid.
You guys gotta try to play your lives.
They're hitting him mid, you
One
guys.
shot. Probably gentlemen.
Front door.
Jim, one shot. Jim, one shot.
And I will say right there, that rotation, that lost rotation over towards P3 is, I don't know, I think it might have been Envoy that was also over there, but it's absolutely partially on Scump. On rotation there, OpTic was spawning towards P1 and Dallas was spawning towards water. So all that is who's going to win those clutch gun battles on rotation. And you saw back-to-back lives, Scump actually die right here towards Zigzag. So that's what happened. I mean, you just have to clutch up and win those clutch gun battles on rotation. They weren't able to do it. They're losing this time inside of P3 over towards Garage. Now they have to just regain, win rotations towards basketball court, and just focus on what lies ahead and not the fact that they kind of blew this rotation here towards P3.
I think one's in the back.
Trophies down.
They are losing composure.
Trophies.
Stuart, I'm holding my spawn.
One guy's front. Shot to.
I'm getting mid. I'm
Let me
getting
know
mid.
when
I'm
to
getting
spawn.
mid.
Yo, and
Spawn,
two
spawn,
there.
spawn.
Another one here.
Spawn
Another
back,
one.
spawn
back.
Shots, he's
Dead,
good.
dead.
Shots, give me money.
Yeah, one mid. One money.
cut out.
And by the way, you don't see this very often, but you just heard right there. You heard Scump say, "Let me know when to spawn." So reason why he said that is because as it was popping over towards P4, if he would have spawned early before they had control of the back, he would have spawned over by White Van, over by P1. But because he waited, as he gets a nice 3-piece right there, because he waited, he actually got this back jungle spawn. So he waited for the hill to pop, and he waited for his team to get back behind P4. That's just a super veteran move, a really poised move. And now it looks like with 15 seconds left, they're about to wrap this one up. Let's listen back in.
When did they back, I think?
I'm full
Yo,
flash here.
pull.
I
Pull
kill
Crim
second,
weak,
kill
weak. And one, come on, money. Cut out.
Yeah, two front.
And one in the
cut out,
back.
actually.
One in the
Missed that one there, but it happens. Call of Duty timing, right?
Nice, good map, yo.
There it is. So the numbers, that's one thing. The numbers on this map aren't super crazy. You're not going to see like 50 bombs and 60 bombs because the map doesn't play that fast. But looks like Scump was somewhere in that like 32 range or something like that. I'd like to see the scoreboard one more time if he brings it up, because I know we can't see kill deaths, but I do want to see the damage numbers. Maybe go to scoreboard. Maybe no. All right, looks like that's it. So, oh, here it is. So let's go back. Looks like Envoy did 4,000 damage. Dashy did 4,700 damage. Formal did 4,400 damage. And Scump did 4,300 damage. So overall, that's a really solid game from everybody top to bottom, right? If you can get everybody in that 4,000 to 5,000 damage range, that means that you're doing pretty well. Your team at all positions, whether it's, you know, the entry man or holding down flanks with ARs, everybody's doing pretty well. So if you guys are new around here, you enjoy this sort of content, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave a like if you don't mind, as it helps out the channel. And with that, thank you guys so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.